Hey Phoenix Army, what's up? Ice Phoenix here, and today we're going to look at how the Patriots are able to overtake the Bills for the AFC East lead. And as you can see that the Buffalo Bills started the season 4-1, which includes a win over the Chiefs, who were a struggling team at the time. And since then they have been alternating wins and lost 3 out of their last 5. And the reason why, according to this stat line, is turnovers, especially in the last 3 games. As you can see, it wasn't really that much of an issue against the Titans. The Titans were a good team, so really not too much alarm bells there. And the Dolphins, they won convincingly, but then again, it's the Dolphins. They haven't been doing too well, but the last 3 games, it's been the turnover department. I mean, yes, they forced 5 turnovers against the Jets, but then again, it's the New York Jets, and they were starting Mason White that game. But the other 2 losses, it was turnovers. The Week 11 game in particular, they turned the ball over 4 times in a 41-15 loss yesterday against the Colts. Let's look at the box score and see how much of a factor Josh Allen was in those games. Okay. See here. Let's look at the last 5 games to see Josh Allen's stat line and how it compares to his opponents. I'm not sure if my screen is recording. As we wait, okay, as we wait for my screen, my webcam to upload. Here's how Josh Allen performed in that game. He was 35 for 47, 353 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and he threw 1 pick, which really wasn't that alarming when you look at it. I mean, and his passer rating was 107.8, which was good. I mean, but compared to, but that's back. But also they had. Well, let's look at the Titans. Let's scroll up here. Let's compare that to the Titans. The problem was their running game. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss did not do much on the ground. They combined 13 rushes for 51 yards that game. And also, Isaiah McKenzie also ran 5 times, 1 yard, 5 rushes in 1 attempt. So, yeah, they probably could have used him more. It was just the fact that, I mean, and he did outperform Ryan Tannehill. But of course, that's back when they had Derrick Henry, who was doing Derrick Henry things that day, running for 20 times or 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. It wasn't really. So that game really wasn't them being a bad team. It's just the fact the Titans were just being really good. And that's back when they had Derrick Henry. So that pretty much helped them out. In their next game, it was the Dolphins. So, yeah, and also Tua struggled that game. So really nothing to talk about here for the Bills. But the game against Jacksonville, that's really where the alarm bells kind of start to go off. I mean, especially the fact that the Jaguars entered the game with only 1 win, and that was in their opening game. Doesn't And as you can see, Josh Allen struggled that game. Like, hell, freaking CJ Beathard looked better than them. 2 for 233 yards. And hell, even rookie Trevor Lawrence, who for like 15 for 26, 118 yards. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is a number one overall pick, but he's only a rookie. And Josh Allen, I mean, he did not have his best game throwing. 31 for 47, 264 yards. And and he had a 62.7 passer rating. I mean, and the fact that Trevor Lawrence outperformed him, I mean, that's pretty much where I think the red flags start to show. And let's look at their next game. In their next game, they blew out the Jets. But then again, it's the New York Jets, and of course, they're facing Mike White. I mean, Josh Allen had a good game, 125.6. I mean, and they had the arm punt master, Joe Flacco, drove 3 for 3. Then really doesn't matter. I mean, but Mike White, outside of that one game, I mean, he had a passer rating of 33.4, and which, in the words of official Jaguar Gator 9, which is worse if he did nothing but spike the ball to the ground on every single play. Yeah, I mean, the guy outside of that one game, he's back up on the Jets for a reason. But really, this next game I'm about to show you is why they're losing to the Patriots at least in the divisional race. Fortunately, they have 2 games against the Patriots coming up, so which they can actually prove a lot of people wrong here. And this was at home. This was at their home. And as you can see here, Carson Wentz, I mean, didn't have the best game, but it was Josh Allen plus their running. And of course they turned the ball over, I think, 4 times this game. And I understand the Colts are a surging team right now. They were, as you can see, the box score. Okay, like, let's see. And oh yeah, of course, 5-year-old laptop. Of course. And Josh Allen looked 4 times, and 2 of those were off Carson Wentz turnovers. Carson Wentz interceptions. Ugh. Okay, I don't have a signal here. I mean, my webcam's lost right now. But nevertheless, Josh Allen got sacked once, and oh yeah, 2 picks by Josh Allen to 50. Was there any fumbles? I don't. I doesn't keep track of fumbles, which, yeah, I think the problem with the Bills were there. They lost. They got blown out against the Colts. I think their turnovers in recent games. So really, I think. And I think now let's look at the Patriots and see how they were able to catch up. And of course, their last 5 games, they were able to take care of business. I mean, of course, against the Jets, they beat them 64-13. So yeah, they were able to. So that right there shows that. And I think that was the game. And Mike Boyer, of course, started that game because I think Zach Wilson was injured. And of course, Mac Jones had a breakout game. And I'm not even, as you can see there, he also spread the ball out more, which I don't think Allen did too much of. And oh yeah, you can see there he a lot of distribution. Okay, and they were able to get to, and they held him to 64.8, which is better than what I think the Bills did better on him. But of course, Mac Jones, I think, is the offensive rookie of the year this year. Not losing steps and really showing his Bama form there. Let's look at their next game. Which I think, and of course they got a big win in LA against the Chargers, who I think is an underrated team this year. And seeing what they did to Justin Herbert, I mean, Jones didn't have his best game, but he probably didn't need to because the defense basically shut down Justin Herbert that game. He had barely over 50%. I mean, picked the ball twice, and I think Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, and he definitely showed that for most of the game against the Steelers. And the fact nailed limit him to a 66.7 passer rating. I mean, they did allow a rushing touchdown to Austin Eckler, who had a monster game last night against the Steelers. I think 4 touchdowns he scored, 4 or 5. And I haven't really looked at the defenses at all. I mean, of course, they even got pick 6 on him with Adrian Phillips. I mean, you get a pick 6 against Justin Herbert, you did something right. Yeah, that really, I think, is a statement win for New England, especially considering the fact they had a slow start to this season. Carolina, and that was, I think, 24-6. And oh, gee. Mac Jones again didn't have his best game. Again, didn't need to because Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts all game long. I mean, below 50%, 3 picks, and he had a passer rating of 23.6.3, which is worse than he did nothing but spike the ball to the ground on every single play. Yeah, and also, again, pick 6. I didn't even look and see if they did it against the Jets. I'm positive that they did. But the fact that which really shows that even their defense is scoring, which this is almost like their 2018 defense in a way, like 2018, 2019 defense, getting score any way they can. Of course, since then, Sam Darnold got hurt, and now got ex-Patriot QB Cam Newton. Not sure how good he would have done, but it shows that Sam Darnold, and this is probably their statement win against the Browns. I mean, they have basically been, and of course, Mac Jones had an efficient day, and that's probably what they've been doing is they've been shutting down the passing game, and even like the rushing game hasn't been too good. Of course, they had Dearness Johnson. Yes, they didn't have Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb, but they've been looking at what they're doing to opposing QBs. Plus, Mac Jones is doing Mac Jones things. And even Brian Hoyer, 3 for 3. And of course, that distribution. Did they get a pick six? No, they didn't get a pick. They didn't get a pick six that game. That's just Belichickian football right there. The quarterback does occasionally have a big game, distributing the ball and shutting down the opposing QB. That, like I said, Belichickian football. They've been doing that consistently. Mac Jones doesn't have to be Peyton Manning, but and of course the troll game, Patriots Falcons. They've again, Mac Jones, efficient game, distributing the ball. Them shutting down Matt Ryan. That's basically what the Patriots have been doing the last 5 games. They have played consistent football. And they have been. Mac Jones hasn't really been the most consistent in terms of quarterback rating, but he just needs to have a not turn the ball over. He has not make too many mistakes. That's basically, like I said. That's just how the Patriots play the game. Like, they don't need their quarterback to be a Joe Montana or Peyton Manning. They just need their quarterback to not make too many mistakes. And fortunately, I think that's what Mac Jones is doing. He's being efficient. He's throwing the ball well, getting touchdowns. And all the defense has to do is just shut down the quarterback, which, from what you guys have seen, Patriots have done just that. The Bills have not been that consistent. They're only, as you see with the Bills, they have been woefully inconsistent. The only 2 games they have won, and the only 2 games they have won were against a struggling Dolphins team. They're struggling against the Jets. The Patriots, they have played consistent football. They have been playing that. Well, they have been. And even though they have, what's happened, I think they've chosen the last 5 games. They, Josh, their running game, they have been. I think even though the Titans' loss wasn't concerned, that probably the only explanation is they were destroyed on the ground. And yes, there was that risky call on 4th down that game. And against the Jaguars, again, they turned the ball over and they were outgained on the ground by the Jaguars of all teams. And the Colts game, it was not just that, but the turnover. Like I said, turnovers especially, that's the thing, is that net rushing and the turnovers within the last 3 games. Also, Josh Allen has been kind of inconsistent as well. He's been making costly mistakes. I expected, and with the Patriots, it has been Patriot football for them. They have stuck to their game plan. they have been like their game plan, like solid quarterback play, solid game, and basically just limiting the quarterback. And even though I do question how Tom Brady, well, how the Patriots won games in the past, I do question Belichick's methods of how when it comes to a sheet and all that. But you can't deny that he didn't lead the Patriots to 6 Super Bowls by being a total idiot. Like Belichick knows what he's doing. He knows he knows how to get the most out of his team regardless of their talent. And that's why they overtook the Bills. I mean, anyhow, as soon as my webcam comes on, I'm just gonna end the video. So now, and is the season over? Actually, is the season over for the Bills? No, of course not. But if they keep playing the way they have been, man, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots win the division and the Bills end up as a wild card or maybe even out altogether, considering how chaotic the AFC playoff picture is. I hope the Bills turn it around, but if both teams continue like this from now until the end of the season, not only do I think the Patriots are going to win the division, but it's going to be deja vu with all over again with them possibly winning the Super Bowl, this time with a different quarterback. And unless you're from the New England area, that's probably the last thing football fans want. And for the Bills, just them playing second fiddle. I mean, they better hope they better hope to become more consistent, especially with the Patriots coming up. So this is really going to be a true measuring stick game for both teams. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Thank you. Have a nice day, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and become a member of the Phoenix Army.